nutritionist. So I was able to look and say, all right, all these people are getting heavy. Let's do this post-COVID shit. And we got into a metabolic weight loss program, and we still did the regenerative medicine, but it allowed us to really take our world to another level. And we now have close to 30 employees. Because it's kind of a business podcast, we work with EOS, and we're about 4 or 5 months in. And Kelly and I were just talking 10 minutes ago. We have really become owners of the company. It allows me to do wonderful things, where I get to travel to Philadelphia and meet with you fine people.
I have a dream.
With great power comes great responsibility.
I could do this all day.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
Cinderella story out of nowhere.
It's in the hole. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Capital Hacking begins in 3, 2, 1.
Wait, welcome back to Capital Hacking. John, it is so great to have you here.
What a show we have in store for you guys. We have Jeff Donatello. He was just amazing. He talks about, it's all about age-defying health.
It is. It's that episode, I guess. We have to get the pillars in. But this is the gentleman that he's going to share his medical background. So we're going to understand how people from the world of medicine make their business decisions, because not only is he going to teach us about regenerative
medicine.
And by the way, John and I fought over who was going to say that fancy word. But there's other things he's going to teach. He's going to talk about something called functional medicine. He's going to talk about his journey from chiropractor practices to functional medicine, regenerative medicine. And now he's involved in, actually even supports professional athletes in this. But then he talks a lot about his business and how he runs it.
Yeah, and it's exciting, guys, because we also get into stem cells, how it works, purified amniotic fluid, and how that heals your joints. So Jeff owns a company called the Center for Wellbeing. Their website's centerforwell.com. But he talks about how he shifted his business from being a chiropractor into the regenerative medicine. And also during COVID, the post-COVID, how people were sedentary. Yeah. And he had the great idea to get people healthy.
Boy, was that the perennial problem of COVID, right? But also, he teaches us about comorbidities, which everybody loves talking about comorbidities and defining it. But there is another business value and an investing value that we all talk about at the end. He's going to go talk about the entrepreneur operating system, EOS, what he's doing it, how it's changing his business. I think you're going to get a lot out of this. Plus, you're going to learn about another great, powerful player and how his mind works. He's so excited to be part of this mastermind, and we're glad to have him on the show.
Get ready, guys. Amazing show. Listen to the end. Share.
It is absolutely great to have you here, Jeff. Welcome to the big show.
Great to be here, guys.
Jeff, man, I'm so excited for this show. I'm so excited that you're here. And man, I know your story is going to be amazing. Can you take us, just give us a little background on who you are and what you're doing and your story?
Thank you. I really appreciate you giving me this platform. I came from an interesting background. My father was born in China to a Russian mother and an Italian father, and immigrated here when he was 11, speaking Chinese, Russian, and Italian. So he was an entrepreneur, but he didn't know what to do. So he became a gym teacher. He was my gym teacher. And at age 16, he started selling insurance, and he did really well. But I was told that my both grandparents, one of them played for the Boston Red Sox on my mother's side. So I come from a line of crazy, wild, visionary type entrepreneurs. And so I went into the medical world. I've always been pretty active. Having a father as a gym teacher, he actually built a long jump pit in my backyard. It was that type of thing. He was all in. We were playing catch. He was perfect. White picket fence growing up in New Hampshire. And it was great. But I always wanted to go into the world of helping people somehow. And I fell into chiropractic, 20-year career, but I was never able to scale. And it was great because it gave me a lot of free time. My former wife and I, we were very much into triathlon. I owned 2 large triathlons, 1,000 people that would come, and one was called Pumpkin Man. The other was called Sea to Summit. I've done over 100 triathlons, traveled to over probably close to 50 countries now, but I never was able to scale my business. And I stepped back about 8 years ago when I found this regenerative world of regenerative biologics, quote, stem cell therapy. And I've watched it evolve. Connected with some really awesome people. And now we own what's called, not my new wife, Kelly. About 8 years we've been together now. She's a co-director, and if it wasn't for her, I would not be sitting here right now. I mean, let's face it. She is her background's in marketing and sales, and we took what we did, we put it together, and we've been building. And so we did a lot of regenerative medicine prior to COVID, and a lot of our patient base, our avatar with regenerative medicine is a 50 to 75-year-old person with degenerative joints, knees, hips, backs. We can talk about that more later. But what did all those people do? The government said stay home, and we took our PPP, right? If you have a business, you take your PPP.
Yep.
If it wasn't for that check, we would have been in trouble. And we had 3 or 4 employees, maybe 5. We didn't like anybody off, but we sat back after, and around March, April, May of 2020, we realized that everybody was getting heavy in this country. And part of my background is I'm certified in functional medicine, and I'm also a certified clinical nutritionist. So I was able to look and say, all right, all these people are getting heavy. Let's do this post-COVID shit. And we got into a metabolic reset weight loss program, and we still did the regenerative medicine, but it allowed us to really take our world to another level. And we now have close to 30 employees. Because it's kind of a business podcast, we work with EOS, and we're about 4 or 5 months in. And Kelly and I were just talking 10 minutes ago. We have really become owners of the company. It allows me to do wonderful things, where I get to travel to Philadelphia and meet with you fine people, which was an amazing thing with the GoBundance group. I joined GoBundance, I don't know, I wrote down big check, World Credit Card, American Express about 4 days ago, and everything just boom, rocketing. So that's the 3-minute, 4-minute overview of where we're at. So here we sit.
Man, that was exciting. That was amazing. So speaking of GoBundance, Josh and I are both members of GoBundance. We have been for years. And now, Jeff, you're a GoBro as well. And we're excited to have you on board as a member. But one of the pillars of GoBundance is age-defying health. And you are crushing that space. Can you talk about stem cells? And I know that I think you do a little differently with the umbilical cord because there were some ethical issues there. But so how does all that work? Can you explain that to our listeners?
It's really complex, and there's lots of schools of thought, and there's lots of different people saying different things. In short, if you go to another country, they will take your stem cells and they will multiply them. And that might be good for certain conditions. I would say for paralysis right now, there are places, if I was to get knocked on wood paralyzed, let's hope nobody does, but I will be on a plane to Panama in a second. It's a more advanced technique. We don't need to do that. It's almost an overflow for what we need, an overabundance, not to use the word go abundance, but it's an overabundance of what we really need to do to get people better. When it comes to joints, we can use regenerative biologics in the US in a way that works extremely well. And this is kind of the shift. So we had over 2,000 patients go use cellular products using Warren's jelly and the cord, and it was really great. It worked really well. A lot of people still do that. We've made the shift to regenerative biologics that comes from purified amniotic fluid. So what I want people to get away from this talk today, if you're watching this, know that these are a lot of people that are watching us are really into health, promotion of themselves, business, family. The only way to do that is to understand that we don't live forever, okay? But I'll tell you right now, there are people born right now, babies that are going to live to 150 for sure, okay? We are now able to take cells and slow down that senescence process, aging process. Do you guys know what telomeres are?
Yes. Yeah. And that's about extending the telomere strand. Am I correct?
Yeah. So that's what.
Hold on. For those of us who aren't as cool as you two guys, why don't we slow down a minute? Because you're using a couple other really cool terms that I think I need to, sometimes I joke, I'm holding on to this, the edge of this understanding. So telomeres, we need a definition. And you talked about cellular and you talked about other methods. So why don't you slow down a minute? Just tell us what a telomere is.
Yeah. So the telomere is a protective coating that sits on the end of our chromosomes. We have 43 pairs of chromosomes. It's in our DNA. It's in the nucleus of all our cells. It's what makes us human. Telomeres shrink as we get older. But using the purified amniotic fluid product that we use, Dr. Ian White, PhD, from a company named Neobiosis, he's the leader in this country, I think, and I've been to his lab many times. We use his product. It is able to extend the telomeric length, which we have studies to show that this happens. And this is no joke what we're talking about. The problem is, guys, it's not covered by insurance. All right. It's not out there in the general public. And it's not the cheapest thing, right? You have to reach into your pocket. This can be $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 to do your knees, right? So this is the problem. We have to get this to the general public, and that's a marketing, right? So we really have to work with that. But I can talk a little bit more about how it works if you like. You wanna do that?
Please.
Okay. So an ideal candidate, and this is where you talk to people and they say, oh, it didn't work for my mother. It didn't work for somebody, right? The problem is this, and we did it first too. We injected people that had comorbidities. The word comorbidity, right, with COVID became popular because when people had more than one problem, they had a higher likelihood of dying from COVID. Right? Type 2 diabetes, multiple medications. If you inject into somebody that has comorbidities, they're not going to do as well. They're not as healthy. We have professional athletes in the NFL that we inject into. Okay. The other day, we had two of them on either side, both quarterbacks. I'm not going to say who, but both of them got the product. I know because part of my job is to educate doctors around the country, and I distribute product from neobiosis to these doctors who then put it in the athletes. Okay. So this is something that works very, very quickly to regenerate tissue. If you inject this into a joint, a process starts happening where tissue regeneration occurs. So we can get meniscal tissue back, we can get tendons back, we can get ligaments back, and especially arthritis. Okay. But here's the thing. I don't want to sit back and go, this is a panacea, it cures all. It doesn't. You have to have a technique. You have to know what you're doing. You have to do it under ultrasound guidance. A lot of docs don't. You have to get the product from the right lab. The FDA has cracked down on some of these lousy labs. So you have to really distill it down and line everything up properly in order to get the best results. Does that make sense?
It does. And can you just remind me the terminology? What is the actual injection?
Yeah. So what we use is purified amniotic fluid. So this is where I think it's cool. We get it from a healthy baby, healthy mom. Now, during the George Bush administration years ago, they were taking aborted fetuses and they were using this product. It's a different product. They're pulling stem cells out. That doesn't happen. It's illegal to do. It's unethical. It doesn't happen. So healthy baby, healthy mom. That lady wants a C-section birth. She signs off with a cord bank. There's 12 of them. They go to the hospital. Baby's born. Everybody's healthy. They take out 200 to 400 cc's of purified amniotic fluid. Okay. Ponce de Leon was looking for the fountain of youth a long time ago in Florida. Coincidentally, the lab that we get this from is right where Ponce was looking, right there in Gainesville, Florida. It's crazy.
Amazing.
So here's what happens. It goes to a lab, third party, it's tested, make sure that the diseases are not in it, just like our blood supply. It's put in one cc vials. Okay. And this is the cool thing. There's no cells in this. They're called microvesicles. There's 250 billion of them. And a microvesicle, without getting too deep into the science, and this can drive you crazy, is made up of messenger RNA. Okay. Messenger RNA is going to basically upregulate and downregulate genes. And then there's microRNA, which is going to increase protein synthesis. So that's why a baby comes out of the uterus totally healthy, right? For the most part, doesn't get mom's bugs, right? It comes out really clean. In fact, they've done studies in mice. They can't do this in babies, but in baby mice, they cut the baby mouse's face 2 weeks before being born, and the amniotic fluid is able to heal that tissue, and you can't even tell there's a cut.
Wow.
It's extremely the most regenerative fluid we know.
So this is a lot to take in. I'm so excited.
It is.
All right. So you said you had two quarterbacks, right, on either side, and I know who they are. We're not going to mention their names, but they're in season right now. So they get injected. What is the process? How quickly can they get back on the field?
That's a great question, because with the side of the product, the orange jelly, the core, we would increase inflammation. What that does is it makes the cells, it causes an inflammatory response, and then it recruits the microvesicles to heal. All right. Now, we skip that step. At least we do in our office, and we go right to the healing agent. It doesn't cause inflammation. So you can put it in and get back on the field. Like
tomorrow, you could get back.
Yeah, like tomorrow. Yeah.
Wow.
We would want to have a day or two probably to see how they respond just from the injection site. But we're having a lot of guys that will actually do it intramuscularly. Some do it infusion systemically, put a trillion of these microvesicles in their whole system. I've had it done. I've had my knees, my shoulder. I could do 50, 60 push-ups, and all of a sudden I could do none. And now I'm back 4 or 5 months later, I'm 54, and you kind of reverse that. You can do that nowadays.
Well. Thank
Well,
you
since
so
again-
much. Okay, so I'm leaving here going, one, thank you for recognizing and actually addressing what would have been ethical issues. And I love that you referenced that. And I'm so glad that there is a code of ethics in medicine still. I worry that it's slipping away, but I'm glad this sounds beautiful what you're doing. I think we've had a lot of babies. I should have known about this. But the other thing is, when you start talking about billions of these elements and trillions, it makes me really feel like the wonder of creation. I'm over here like, one, it's amazing that this is possible, that it impacts my body. It's not it's some other human being's formative tissue is now in my body. And the only reference point I guess we all have is blood transfusions. I guess it's always been normal to receive blood from someone for injury or whatever. So now you're saying there's this other regenerative fluid. So I'm over that for a moment. And I'm sure some listeners are dealing with it the way I am, that it's like a marvel and the wonder of creation and our creator. So then let's go to the next step. I want to make sure John does his part and helps make sure that the science and the concept of this work has been covered, because John's going to ask one more thing. And then after we get through the medicine and the science, we're going to get back to business because I have a few questions.
That's right. Thank you, Josh, for keeping us on pace. And I'm nerding out a little bit here, Jeff. But so let's say if I came in, right, I have multiple tears in both of my rotator cuffs in both shoulders, my knees. I was a track runner, played every sport I possibly could growing up. Could I literally come in, get my shoulders injected, my knees injected, my wrists from lifting, and then get a whole thing going in my body that's just,
you could.
You got localized and you got generalized injections. Could you do all that?
We can totally do that. We'd have to look at your bank account first, but we do have people flying on private jets all the time. So this is the ultimate package.
You need a PFS for me next? I got a PFS from you now.
We will. So to answer your question, we would do a 4cc infusion systemically, get it through your whole system. And then we would pick up to 4 joints. You can pick more. We've had people it's based on cc, right? That's the amount. We've had people do 9 or 10, but one of our packages, it's, again, I'll throw the numbers out there. I don't hide anything. It's $26,600 to do.
Oh,
it is. But here's the thing. Do you know how much a hip replacement is? You know what they bill insurance for? My buddy got billed $108,000.
yeah. I was guessing.
It's $40,000, and 20% of the time the knee replacement doesn't work.
Yeah.
So here we are. But yeah, that's what we would do. We ultrasound guidance, we look at you, we make sure you're a good candidate. This is key. If you're not a good candidate, we push you away and we go into our other vertical where we use functional medicine to get the inflammatory response down. And that's usually this is a whole nother, we're shifting gears here, guys. But we're going into a full blind metabolic workup, looking at 5 pages of markers that your doctor's typically not going to do unless you have a disease. Then the insurance will cover this blood work, okay? But you're paying out of pocket. So we get to look at the blood work the way we want to. We put in functional medicine norms, comparing you to healthy people. And then we do a complete hormonal panel, a 24-hour cortisol rhythm test to look at your hormones throughout the day. And we also do food sensitivity panels. We looked at 95 different foods. So blood, hormones, food, put that together. Inflammation comes down. The joint pain actually is going to get better a lot of times, but if it doesn't, then we would do the regenerative biologic. Does that make sense?
Yes. Amazing.
Amazing. Okay. Now, that was definitely the time for a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about, I love the different generations of your business careers, the EOS you throw out there. You define the fact that you created 2 verticals. You made a pivot during pandemic, and we will be right back after this message.
Hi, this is Melanie McCallan. Josh and I are just so grateful for the many investors who have already joined us at Accountable Equity. Accountable Equity is so much more than a capital group. It's really a community of accredited investors that want to learn and grow together. I just want to personally invite you, if you want to find out more about this type of investment and see if it's right for you and your family, please visit us at accountableequity.com.
Woo! We are back. Jeff. Okay.
Hey.
Let's
All
start
right.
at the top of the business hierarchy here for a minute. Sounds like you worked in chiropractic. Did you work for other people or did you go right into business building after college?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to buy a practice, and I think I'm your classic entrepreneur. I'm allergic to working for people. I never could, and I never will. I'll work with you. I'll work on commission maybe, but I was my own boss for many, many years. And it worked well. I had a lot of free time, but again, couldn't scale it. So here we are.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the pivot that you went from being your own boss as a chiropractor to pivoting into regenerative medicine. How did you make that shift?
I always try to network. This is what I love about Go Abundance. I always network with all the doctors around the country, and California, I don't know if people realize this, but when it comes to medicine, California is usually 2 years ahead of the conservative East Coast. It takes forever for stuff to get here, which I love because I'm always ahead of everybody locally.
Except for Botox, right?
Except for Botox.
Well, I'm just saying, like, if I don't know, man, I'm a little freaked out a little bit by Botox injections. I'm sure there's great uses for it, but it doesn't always look the best. I don't.
Yeah.
But they were way ahead of us on that curve.
Yeah. You can probably tell I don't partake. But yeah, so back to your original question. I have to admit, I really didn't get into the scaling and running a real business, with an organizational chart and the management, the VPs. That's fairly new for me and my wife, Kelly. So our market has taken off, and we New Hampshire Seacoast, we've now moved into the Boston market, and that's big time. Instead of marketing to 250,000 people, we're marketing to 4.3 million. And it's a whole nother ballgame. So everything goes up the next level.
As John was saying, did you like, what was the medical? Oh, you said you networked. So from networking with doctors, you realized you wanted to make a pivot in your actual practice, not just your business development. Do you still have the work, or do you still own anything related to chiropractic?
No, not. I stopped the license like years ago. Best thing I ever did.
Oh. And is there anything? So again, now we're going to jump back into medicine for a minute. Is there anything? Some of my friends have been doing the chiropractic method for their own health for a long time. What is your feeling about chiropractic as just a regular form of healthcare?
Oh, it's an incredible healing art. I was so fortunate to be part of it. Like anything, people abuse it, but I would say this: if you're listening to this, go to a chiropractor. If you're not 50 to 75% better in 2 to 3 weeks, maybe you're not going to get there. So the biggest knock is these people that want to see you 3 times a week for 6 to 12 months. Don't do that. Don't fall into that trap. It's a great healing art though. And I think that, it helps a lot of people. I mean, every professional sports team has a chiropractor on staff. I know 2 or 3 in the NFL. So these guys aren't letting chiros touch their bodies unless it works. And
okay. Before we see, there you go. You've mentioned famous sports brands again, which sounds like a really wonderful way to, scale a company. From attracting guests and clients, I should say. So was that part of your transition into regenerative? Like was your business development skill, which means grabbing these guests and clients out of the NFL? What about that part of your life? It sounds like you're very good at that as well.
I don't want to, we haven't had a bunch of NFL players come in. The NFL players are more for the vertical. This is my third vertical, and that's going to be the distribution that I do to other doctors. So I trade other docs. If they need a product in, let's say, San Francisco, there might be a team out there in San Francisco. If they need it, they call me, I teach them how to use it, and they do their thing. So that's kind of how that works with what I do.
That's great. And I love that you had the vision, the foresight post-COVID to see that a lot of people had been sedentary, gaining weight. I was even a victim of that for the first few weeks. I had never taken more than a week off of work, and it was illegal in Philadelphia to run a personal training business. Gyms were all shut down, and I figured I'd be drinking some craft beer for a couple weeks. Well, those couple weeks turned into a few months, and I get on the scale and I said, well, I've gained some weight and I've got some work ahead of me. So I put away the craft beer and got to work. But so you saw that shift there, and you've created these 2 distinct verticals outside of the cellular one, the health. Can you explain a little bit more about what you do? So someone comes to you to get healthier, you give them blood tests. What does the testing protocol look like, and how many people are helping you, and in what areas?
Yeah, so we don't use dietitians or registered dietitians. We use certified health coaches. We have 10 of them. We have 3 nurse practitioners. So you're going to come in, you're going to go through the sales process. You'll have 2 choices. We have a gold program that it's a 90-day metabolic reset program. We look to lose 20 to 40 pounds in that time frame. and you're meeting with the coaches up to 6 times. We have a personal Facebook page for everybody there. We're looking to put together, ready for this one? Go Bro Pods for people post program so we get them exercising.
Yes.
It's the book, the Tribe of Millionaires book. In that book, he talks about doing the same thing. We're in this, he basically does something for wellness centers. Ironically, that's exactly what we need to do right now.
I wonder who gave you that book.
I wonder, some guy here. I don't know, one of the guys on this podcast. So yeah, so back to your point, we want to basically establish new patterns of eating real food. There's no injections. There's no prepackaged meals. That's a big knock. A lot of these programs are based on prepackaged meals long term, and it doesn't work. Now, our secret sauce is this. We tell everybody that our main goal, weight loss, is a side effect. Okay? Getting you healthy is our goal, and getting to understand you uniquely are able to keep that weight off a year later and understand how to do it. Everyone's different.
Jeff, I love that you said that, by the way, because, and I'm sorry, I'm going to give the mic back to Josh because he tells me to keep it. Okay.
Doing a great job.
I am. All right. So it's funny because the other day I read something and it's so true that you can be fit and not healthy, but you can't be healthy and not fit, right? So I love that you're saying that the first thing you do is get people healthy and the fitness is just a byproduct, right? And you're creating a habit over that 90 days that's sustainable. It's not a 21-day weight loss challenge and you're making it sustainable. What type of supplements are you involved with a supplement company? Do you recommend supplements? How does that work?
Great question. One of my passions is the word excipient free. Are you familiar with excipients?
I'm not.
Yeah, and it's crazy. So an excipient is a binder, filler, glue, dye, color that an unregulated industry gets away with. Right? The supplement industry is unregulated. It's not.
I'm often worried about that. Is that the capsuling in capsules?
Yes.
Okay. I've wondered about that.
The purpose of the magnesium stearate, silicone dioxide. These are all things that are put in that aren't the best for your physiology. They're the best for the economics of the person making the product. So we want to have an excipient-free product. Okay, you guys hear me?
Yeah. Excipient-free product.
We're taking notes. Notes over here because I'm even trying to understand the word.
Yeah, and there's a lot, right? So we want to use the blood work ideally to find out what your issues are, but then we want to use vetted out pharmaceutical grade supplementation. So never, ever, ever buy supplements from cheap supplements on the internet from people. There's a lot of counterfeit garbage. Fentanyl, guys. Fentanyl is finding its way into supplementation in the U.S. And the leading cause of death in the U.S. right now, right? From age 18 to 40 is fentanyl overdose.
But why would fentanyl? Okay. You're teaching me a lot of new things here today, but fentanyl is used to create a high, right? So why would that even be in a supplement? Because
a lot of it's coming out of Mexico. A lot of these supplements are coming out of Mexico, and it's just cross-contamination. They're not trying to get you high. It's just an industry. People are making these things in their bathtubs. It's something you have to be aware of. Make sure that you're getting these things from your doctor or
people are making supplements in their bathtubs.
No, what they do is this. I just threw away a bunch of supplements because I had a nurse practitioner that bought a lot and she didn't use them and the expiration date disappeared. There are people that will buy mass supplements from doctors and then print a new label and open it up and put whatever in it to cut it. So I have a product called Clearvite, right? It's about $75. They'll take a Clearvite, they'll open it up just like cocaine. They'll cut it into 3 parts and then repackage it 3 ways and then sell it on Amazon as a reseller for $100 a case. This is no joke. This happens and you don't know what you're getting.
So how do our listeners know? Because I'm sure a lot of our listeners like myself do take a lot of different supplements. Like, how do we know where the right ones to get is? Like, where do we get this stuff?
Well, I would say, hey, get them from a store, right? Not online. That's the first thing. The second thing is if you want to know what's right for you, that's where the metabolic blood panel comes in. That's where the hormone panels come in. And that's where a certified nurse practitioner who understands functional medicine will guide you through, or a naturopath, or an MD, whatever. I mean, don't waste your time on the moniker. Make sure their education is everything. So functional medicine is going to guide you in that direction.
And all right, I'm going to let Josh take the mic in a second. Is there a supplement company that you actually trust that we can order from online?
No. Here's one. I use Apex Energetics and Premier Research and Thorn Industries. There's the three I use are all stuff that you cannot get on your own. That's just
Right. Yeah, I'm in touch with a doctor. You have to kind of get a password through him, and I do understand that. But I met Marcus Aubrey a couple years ago. He actually spoke at a GoBundance event, and I've enjoyed Onnit products, but you always just wonder.
Yeah, I mean, Aubrey and Rogan work together on it. I've used Onnit products. I think again, vetting out product like that, and knowing that it's coming from Onnit and not coming. That's what I would say. If you get it online, get it from a company online, not a reseller online.
You're saying they could actually take these products like Onnit, and they can relabel it, cut it, and put it on Amazon and sell it. So you're saying get it directly from the Onnit website.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying don't buy Amazon resold products because you're going to see they're going to be cheap.
Yeah, right there. As we always say, these podcasts surprise you that sometimes they change your life by being in these audio masterminds. I didn't know all of that. And John's over here. He's like, I'm changing the way I do things.
Absolutely dumb.
So there you go, John. Now you understand why we do podcasting so much. We love it. It's an audio mastermind, man. We don't usually get to be around Jeff.
So be around people like you. So it goes both ways. I really appreciate you guys having me on here.
So the section of the show here we're at, I've already come up with a cool title. I think I'll have to run it by John, but Age-Defying Health, Regenerative Medicine, and a Healthy Business. So if we're going to say a title like that, we've got to talk about the healthy business, right?
Yeah, man. Cool.
It sounds like you really have put that as a priority over the last 12 months, 24 months, whatever. You brought in an EOS implementer recently. Let's define what EOS is. And would you mind explaining what your business goals are now to make your business healthy?
Yeah. EOS is Entrepreneurial Operating Systems based on the book Fraction. Daniel Himmel is my coach. Daniel Himmel is a GoBundance member for many, many years. He knows John, and he's the guy that turned me on to GoBundance. So basically it's looking at getting, they say everyone rowing in the same direction. And when I take away from it is that they use a lot of acronyms. Right seat, right person, right seat. And GWC, does the team member get it? Do they want it? And do they have the capacity for it? So what we do is the first thing we did was we had to get real, and we had to put people in the right seats. We had to let go of our office manager. We had to let go of 3 health coaches. We had to shift. Some people went up and made a lot more money, and other people made a lot less money. We stirred the pot, and we set up a management tier that everybody reports to the right people. And it's very difficult for someone like me who for years has just jumped in and you talk to whoever. I can't do that. I have to talk to the right people and do things properly. So
that's interesting. You brought up one of the key things. So you're saying the water cooler conversation that was about marketing strategy last month or 5 months ago with the person who does social media marketing for your company, I'm just paraphrasing, is no longer allowed. Now you have to go through the boss of marketing to
100%. You just distilled it down, my friend. That's exactly what happens. Because if you don't, you get a mixed message. And that's how companies fall apart. We're going from we're trying to go from 7 figures to 8. Okay. And it's easy to go backwards when you're sitting in the middle there. It's easy. If you don't have structure, and we did not have the proper structure. And we still don't. We need a fractional CFO. But we're still in the middle right now. We're not quite sure if we can handle one. We struggle. Our budgets aren't there like they should be. We need HR. We have a fractional HR person. If you're in the middle, it's a middle ground having 30 employees. It's tough. It really is.
Now, the beautiful thing behind COVID is everyone now is virtual, uses Zoom. So, a space you may have been in where people would have to come see you for all this help and this coaching and all of that, you can now help around the world. Is that right?
That's exactly right. You were nice enough to invite me to Philly, and I went to your meeting, and I didn't tell you this yet. I have 2 guys that are starting virtual care right now, and we got probably 4 others that I'm talking with that are very interested in what they're doing. So yeah, it's totally, and people, they'll come in a lot of times for 1 or 2 times, and then it's virtual. It's the way to go. I'd say that more than 70% of our visits with our health coaches and nurse practitioners are virtual now.
That's perfect.
I think we've gotten more than we bargained for, Jeff. A lot here. And since we just talked about GoBundance, before we ask you to share your final thoughts, John and I have put together a program for people that want to go through, who become aware of GoBundance, want to find out more about it. I always say we have a VIP program through Capital Hacking. Just reach out to us. We hit the website, capitalhacking.com. We'll help you go through the process. It'll be a VIP treatment. Now, that's a quick commercial, but how about you, Jeff? What's next for you, and how can we be part of your success story at Capital Hacking?
I love the fact that we're getting this message out to everybody. And my hope is that people can have a few takeaways and get healthier and know that, there is hope, because post-COVID, there's so much negativity. But this world that I'm in, and this is, maybe I look at the world through rose-colored glasses, but for me, COVID almost didn't exist. I just used it and bounced to the next thing. And by being part of GoBundance, not to harp on that, but the next thing for me is to connect with like-minded fellows like yourself and really work with people that have been there and done that. Because I'm a little island up here in New Hampshire, and I had to get on a plane to travel to Philly. And John, as a side note, John asked me, I was going to speak a little bit about what I do at this meeting, and you can see how hard it is to condense this down, right, into 2 or 3 minutes. Because the whole time I was like, how am I going to describe all this in 2 to 3 minutes? It's not that. So if you guys ever want me to come back and do a proper presentation, we can take this and bang it out in an hour with a PowerPoint and help you guys out.
Yeah, I think January is a perfect month to get it started, where guys are reevaluating their goals, their health goals, their financial goals, but you definitely fit in that health side. And we've done that a lot of Januaries, where we reevaluate where we're at, and I have a health coach, and you're going to be the guy in January.
So there you go. Deal real dive, Jeff. I mean, that was a deal real dive. We just got a deal done on the air. All right. So we are excited to get to know you. Thank you for educating us. It's absolutely great to have you on the team.
We can talk for hours, but we appreciate your time, man, and we appreciate everything that you bring.
Yeah, this is fun. Thank you, guys.
Cheers.
Damn straight. We just got
buddy.
We got to the end of another great show, and everyone listening right now, you're the family and friends. Thanks for staying till the end.
That was so fun. And hey, hit the like, hit subscribe. We're here to serve you guys. That's why we're doing this show. Josh is not paying me. I'm doing this off of my quote unquote sweat equity, because we want to make a difference in your life. And then that ripple effect will continue to touch the world.
Hey, amen, brother. Please check us out on capitalhacking.com, all the social media threads. And yes, I know you've probably already sent this episode to one of your best friends. Thank you. We love you. Just go right into your iPhone, hit the plus symbol. We'll talk to you later. See you next week.
Share.